Hey guys, wanted to share with you my new watch purchase. This is my Glycine Airman Double 12. I found this used on eBay. It retails for around $11.50, 1,150 brand new. I ended up getting it for a little over $500. It was a really good deal, and came with an extra rubber strap, or excuse me, leather strap, and a box and all that kind of stuff. So I'll kind of get the packaging out of the way. It's nothing crazy, but it's pretty nice. Here's the exterior box. It's kind of got that split that you see a lot of boxes, the exterior boxes have these days, just to make the taking out of the inner one easier. So that's nice. And then you've got the international guarantee right here, a cleaning cloth, and then there's a black leather band here. And then it came with the brown, and I've kept the brown on. It's a pretty nice interior box here. It's got a nice thickness to the shell, good material on the inside. For the price of the watch, I'd say this is nicer than, I have a Squale watch, and I'd say this is definitely better packaging than you get with a Squale, and probably not quite as nice as you get with the Tudor Heritage Black Bay that I have. So real nice. I was really impressed when I was unboxing this. It says on the top here, Glycine. It's kind of recessed. I don't know if you can see that. Kind of a matte finish, and then right below that says since 1914. So obviously they've been around for a long time. They are, they've got a lot of history, especially with aviation. This watch is kind of an iteration of the original Airman, which came out in 1953. And looked kind of similar to this, but it was smaller, and the excuse me, I just hit the light booth. The bezel here had 24-hour markers, and that's why this one is called the Double 12. This one is the first Airman in the 60 some odd years to not have the 24-hour bezel. It has two 12s, hence the name Double 12. So you've got 12 on the chapter ring on the inside, then you've got 12 on the bezel here. And what's cool about the Airman series, or at least this model, the Double 12 comes in 3 different color combinations. This one is the black dial. There is a kind of a red with a gradation to it, and a blue with a gradation to it. Both of those are pretty cool. They aren't as kind of neutral, I would say, as this. This one seems to maybe be a little bit more kind of, I don't know, not just matching with one color. You could probably put this on different straps and it would look good. It's a 40 millimeter wide case. I think the originals were down into the 30s, and they've since, expanded the range. If you go to the Glycine website, you'll see they've got so many different models of the Airman now. There's a ton. So if you'd probably be able to find one you like. It's a 40 millimeter case. It's got 20 millimeter wide lugs. It's got a sign crown here. It's kind of got this kind of hash mark design on it. Pretty cool. It kind of reminds me of maybe like an altimeter or some sort of aviation instrument. I couldn't really find any info on that. So if anyone knows exactly what that is, other than maybe a nod to an aviation instrument, let me know down below. And then this is kind of the cool part here. This is what you loosen. These are like, it's the exact impression of the coin edge on the bezel here on this screw down, and then you loosen that, and then you're able to adjust the bezel. And it's got a cool feel to it. I mean, I've only ever had bezels that have a click and have kind of the engagement of those teeth that are inside the bezel, and this has a very different feel. It's got a little bit of hesitation at first, just to kind of get it going, and then once it's moving, it's got a nice feel to it. It's very sturdy, and then to lock it back in place, you kind of just line it up at 12 or wherever you want to go, and then you just screw this back down, and you kind of want to make sure that you're at the right setting, because the teeth have to be able to match up with the bezel. It's pretty easy though. It's not. There we go. So now we're right back in place, locked in place. This watch I bought had a few scuffs here on the lugs, don't know if you can see them. Yeah, this one's the worst right there. It's not too bad, but for some reason, whoever owned this before just didn't put the spring bars in from the back side. They like to put them in from the front and try repeatedly to just, I don't know, scuff it as much as they could. But it does have drilled lugs, which is nice for changing in and out straps. I'm sure I'll try the black strap at some point, maybe some others. But I love the dimensions of this watch. I mean, 40 mils wide, 20 mils for the lugs. I mean, that's, for me, that's perfect for a 7-inch wrist. I think that's spot on. I love the bezel markers, the triangles. I mean, to me, this looks a lot like the Rolex Explorer 2. It's got kind of that similar feel to it, kind of the vintagey look with that bezel, especially the silver bezel. And this is an original design. This is not, you know, in any way an homage to the Explorer 2. One thing that's really cool about this, and it may be hard to pick up on camera, but how thin this is. It has what I think they say it's a GL224 movement, which if you dig a little bit, I think it's a modified ETA 2824, which is a great movement. I mean, that's what's in my $900 Squale. It's a popular ETA movement at this price point watch before you get up into the higher end in-house movements. But it's surprising how thin they've been able to get this watch compared to the other watches that have that movement. Particularly, I've got two other watches that have the 2824, the Tudor Heritage Black Bay, and I've got the Squale 1521, and both of which are pretty thick watches. Granted, the Heritage Black Bay is pretty thick, kind of from the bottom of the dial to the bottom of the case, and the Squale has a fairly tall kind of dome to the top, and the case isn't quite as thick as the Tudor, but still, this is my thinnest 2824 based watch, and it's nice because it is, you know, it is a 40, but if you kind of like watches that are smaller, I would definitely say to try this. It fits, I'd say maybe even a little bit smaller than a 40 because of the thinness of it. So let's go ahead and do a watch shot, or wrist shot here. What the heck's a watch shot? I don't know. It's got a signed buckle here. It says Glycine. And then you've got the Glycine crown here on the first strap. And then the second one is just blank. But you can see here, I've got a 7-inch wrist. And it's like a perfect fit. You can see the lugs stop well before my wrist starts to taper. And the sides don't hang over at all. It's perfect. And then you can see the width of it, or the height of the watch is such that it's so thin that it's easy to fit underneath the cuff of a shirt. So look at that, it just fits under there perfectly. Really nice. The loom on this watch is not great. I'm going to go ahead and cut to a loom shot. Here's the loom on the Glycine Airman Double 12. You can see the hands are pretty decent with the second hand sweeping by, and then you've got a little bit stronger loom at 12 and 6, and then a little bit of loom at the other hour indices. So as you can see, loom isn't exactly this watch's strong suit. If you want to see a really great loom, check out my review of my Helson Shark Diver. That's, out of all my watches, I would say that's probably the watch with the best loom. So I'll go ahead and take this off again. I forgot to show you more about the strap. This was one thing that's kind of interesting on the strap here. I didn't really notice it, but this is really long and kind of flimsy. The center part of the buckle here, the pin, it has a lot of play to it, and obviously that's probably just an indication that the leather's probably been worn there. But this is really long, and you probably won't be able to tell or gauge that from this video, but it's kind of curious how long that is compared to my other watches. It's just kind of weird. When you put it on, you definitely notice it. Here's the case back. It's a clear case back, stainless steel, automatic, sapphire crystal. You can see it. It's got a Glycine signed rotor on it. It says Cal 224, 25 jewel, which like I said before, is a modified 2824 ETA movement. But really nice. I really like this watch. I think it's a great combo to have this as like around $1,000 retail price point pilot's watch, or pilot styled watch. I mean, this was used heavily in Vietnam and a lot of military heritage. So to have this kind of as a $1,000, or if you can find it used, even less, pilot style watch, and then you could have something like the Squale, or you could get an Oris with a great diving watch around the $1,000 price point. I mean, that's a great duo, and just I think really cool watches. I mean, to get some heritage, they've got good resale value. I think they're really a good deal. So definitely keep your eye out for the Glycine Airman if you like these. I don't think that they come up that often, especially this Double 12. I hadn't seen any other Double 12s for sale. They are available online. You can go to, I think Iguana Watches has a fair amount of them, and the other models, the more commonly found ones with the 24-hour dial, are easier to find. I think this one might be a little bit more obscure, but I think either way you go, you're getting pretty much, the same type of movement and the same type of specs, aside from that the markings in the bezel. So anyways, if you guys have any questions or comments, let me know what you think down below, and thanks for watching.